So let me ask you this then. In your own words, who is Brian Malow? Are you a comedian, a scientist, a journalist, a photographer, a philosopher, now an edutainer?
Stand-up philosopher. Stand-up philosopher, yeah.
Stand-up philosopher? That's your choice?
No, you know what? I like, is that all? Is that the whole list? It was a pretty good list there. I do like all of those. I've always had a problem with labels. I've never liked the labels except for on opaque packages because I want to know what's inside them. But in general, I've had trouble applying the labels to myself. Like even when I first started doing comedy, I didn't want to call myself a comedian. I just wanted to say that this was one of the things I do. Because I actually early on thought writing first. When I first started comedy, I thought I would write a book before I would get very far in comedy. And I've yet to write that book, but yet I will.
Well, you just published your first short story, so the book
there you
is
go.
on the way.
And that's a whopping 1 page. So how many do you need for a book? Just a few more of those, right?
200 of those.
Yeah. Or, hey, I always liked, I went on, I told you I started with hard science fiction. Then later, Philip K. Dick became my favorite and stuff that wasn't necessarily hard science. And he wrote good 150, 200 page books, short little books. Very read. None of these Kim Stanley Robinson, Werner Vinge. It's like, hey, I want to read something casual. How about a 700-page book by Werner Vinge? So I actually have finally started Deepness in the Sky. I absolutely love A Fire Upon the Deep. Mm-hmm. And it's like that. It's like I'm more likely to pick up a little Dick book than, but Vinge is so good. Yeah. So good. Immediately engaging. So as far as all those labels, I do like all of them. I like, I don't even feel like they're that different. I think what I am, and the only thing I like to do is I feel like I like to observe. I like to gather data, all this various input, and then process it through my brain, which has been shaped, as each of our brains has been uniquely shaped by genetics and environment. And then we process the information that comes into it and spit it out. And that's the only, I don't know that I have a lot of other marketable skills. And beyond this, it's like, this seems to be what I'm best at. I like to process this stuff, and what comes out could be a joke, or it could be a weird, thought-provoking idea, or it could be a photo. My fiance has gotten into, has really been experimenting with cooking, and we've been kind of eating low carb and paleo, and she's been doing a lot of cooking experiments, which we like photographing. And what I'd like to do then is do some extreme close-ups, macro photos that are really abstract. Like they start out being photos of the dish that she cooked. Here's what she cooked. But then I move in and I start doing more artistic, abstract macros that are just zoomed in that you wouldn't even necessarily know what it is. So I just find that a really fun way to spend some time, and I love the final product. So it's that. I think all of those things are aspects of it, but in the end, it's just data crunching, put things through this machine, and I'm voracious in terms of my curiosity. I want to learn more.
Speaking of learning more, let me interrupt you here. What is the best place where people can learn more about you?
Sciencecomedian.com. And I'm Science Comedian most places, on YouTube and on Twitter. I'm overdue for uploading new content to YouTube. And sciencecomedian.com, though, is the main place. Mm-hmm. Some other stuff will sprout from there. But
fantastic. Yeah. And let me ask you this. The traditional question that I finish all my interviews with is this. What is the one thing or the single most important message that you would like our viewers and listeners to take away from this interview with you today?
From this interview, even? Well, maybe it's a little bit what I was just saying, and something that I touched on with the insect paparazzi idea is that that we live in an amazing universe, and looking around at it, and we, sometimes as we grow up, we lose that childlike wonder with the world, and we get focused on very practical. We get channeled into so that we focus on more practical issues, and that's what growing up is about. But that's one of the things I love about scientists, and I get asked quite often, do scientists have a sense of humor? And I think that they get such an unfair stereotype, because of all the people I can think of, they have hung on to, more than anyone, that childlike wonder with the universe. They'll devote their careers and their lives and their passions to things like, why does that ant do that? Why does that, why does the oil on the surface of a puddle make that weird rainbow? Those are the kinds of issues that consume scientists. And it's like, wow. It's like, if you want to ask who has passion and childlikeness and wonder and humor, why don't you ask about lawyers and doctors and accountants? But scientists, I don't think you have to ask. I think that they're the closest to it. They're hanging on to that, and they're still seeing the world with fresh eyes. So I think that that's what I like to do. I think that I haven't gotten over that. I haven't grown up. You can call me Peter Pan, but I don't think that it's a bad kind of childishness that lets us keep seeing the world in fresh ways, and to look a little deeper, like look under that leaf, and there might be a praying mantis for all you know, and all you had to do was look under the leaf, and there's an egg or something under there, and sometimes it just takes that. So I'm very pro imagination and curiosity, and the quest to satisfy our curiosity. Something like that.
Fascinating. Brian Malow, thank you very much for being with us on Singularity One-on-One.
Yeah, very nice talking to you.
Thank you, Brian.